All right, hey YouTube, welcome back to Mike Jordan Uncomplicated. Just got back from a week-long camping trip. It was awesome. But on my very first day, of course, that's the way it always happens, one of my Ruuvi temperature sensors quit on me. So looking at the app, it was a dead battery. Couldn't find anything local, so I just waited till I got home, ordered some from Amazon. We'll take a look at all that in a minute and what Ruuvi sensors are. If you don't know, they have not only temperature, but barometric pressure and humidity. So great little things to have around the RV. I've got several of them, and we'll look at that and how I use them and where I use them real quick. But today I'm going to talk about changing that battery in that sensor that died, because it is a strange concept and took just a minute to figure it out. But once you figure it out, it is simple as can be. So we're going to show you that. But first, let's take a look at what Ruuvi sensors are, how I use them, where I use them, and we'll make that real quick and get back to changing batteries. Okay, first thing is really awesome with the Ruuvi sensors is they will connect to the Victron Cerbo. So I've got my Cerbo just pulled up here on the TV. Get some light and you can just see us on the TV. So if you want to know how to do that, I've got a video for that. I'll try to link it in the description. But if you look now, I got my sensors on the bottom. Again, I'm just got home, parked in the driveway, everything's off. So all the temps kind of look the same. But you can see I've only got 3 temps there. I have a 4th one in my freezer. And it is not even showing up anymore because the battery's been dead for 10 days now. So that's what we're getting ready to fix. So hopefully we get that battery back in here. There on the bottom of this screen here, we'll see one more sensor called freezer show back up when we get the battery changed. All right, now if you don't have a Cerbo, no need to fret. The Ruuvi sensors are still pretty awesome. You can use them without the Victron Cerbo. Here is the Ruuvi app, and you can see that it shows up on the app without any other whiz-bangs to make them work. But if you look at, in my freezer one is dead, it hasn't updated since April 7th, and it's not like the 16th or 17th. I don't know what day today is, but anyway, it's been about 10 days. You can see the other sensors there have updated recently. You can see this one is my fridge. You can see this little red over here. The battery is very low on it, and then on my inside sensor, the battery is very low on that. So those need changing, but they're not completely dead yet. And then my outside sensor is the only one that is not showing a weak battery. So I'm going to change at least one of them. I may let the other ones die just to give a little bit longer life. But Ruuvi says these things last 2 to 5 years. Mine have been in probably just under a year, maybe 10-11 months. But again, with mine connected to the Victron Cerbo, my Cerbo polls once a minute. So when I look at it, I know data is current and it's not some older data. So that may be why it's wearing the battery out quicker, making all that polling having to keep up with. So anyway, we're going to change that battery. We'll take one more look at what a Ruuvi sensor is in the first place. All right, you've seen both the app and the screen. See, I've got 4 sensors. One of them labeled inside. I literally just have sitting right here on the kitchen counter. I thought at one time I was going to mount them, but I just laid it there to test it, and like I said, it's been there almost a year and haven't had any issues with it just sitting there. It doesn't ever seem to get in the way. Doesn't bother anything. So there it is. That gives my inside of my RV temperature sensor. And then over here's my fridge, and so I've got one in my freezer. This is the one that's bad. So again, it just literally sits right here all the time. Haven't had any issues out of doing that. So I'm going to pull that out of the freezer because we're getting ready to change the battery. And I've got one in my refrigerator. And again, it just sits right there on the shelf all the time. Haven't done anything special with it. Hasn't caused any issues. Hasn't been in the way of anything. And so that gives me my refrigerator and freezer temps. And then I won't walk outside, but I've got one all the way up front outside where my fifth wheel pin box is. I have it tucked up in there, so that gives me my outside temperature. So I can see temperature, humidity, barometric pressure, anywhere in the world. I can tell what's going on inside my RV. Alright, these are the batteries I got for it. If you look on my channel, I just did a recent video for changing the Mopeka propane tank sensor batteries. Everything's dying on me at once, I guess. But I've used this brand of batteries a lot. The Mopeka sensors use a 2032 battery, which is very, very common in a bunch of stuff. I have several things that run that battery. But of course, the Ruuvi sensors have to be a different battery. But the good thing about this brand is they seem to work just as well as anything, but you get 10 of them for about the price of 1 or 2 of a different brand. So, and I'll put a link for these in the description, and you can see that just got them off of Amazon. Okay, here's the sensor. And it's got like a little rubberized case. I think I had to order that separate, if I remember right, when I ordered the sensors. And this little rubberized case has a couple spots where you could screw it up with something. Again, I just never have. Rubberized case that sits, it doesn't really move around or slide around or anything. But you can see this one, I have it labeled wet bay. So originally I put these things in, it was getting cold, so I put this one, ordered 4 of them, put this one down by the Nautilus, the plumbing, to monitor the temperatures when it's freezing. And then after summer rolled around, I said, hey, I probably ought to monitor my freezer temps too. So I just pulled, I don't need that one by the Nautilus. I just pulled it out, put it in the freezer. So I do that every year. Pretty simple. So just move them back and forth. I could get another one, but just don't feel the need to. So anyway, get these things out. You just pop this little rubber cover off. Again, 2 screw holes if you wanted to mount it. I also labeled this, so you can see wet bay. And then this little cover here is turning around. Might be hard to see on the screen, but there is a slot there. You could get a tiny screwdriver in, or thumbnail works just fine. And that opens up. So pretty simple so far. But then I got here and I'm like, how do I get this battery out? It seems to be held down by this thing and it doesn't want to move, and I'm going to break something. And couldn't figure out how to get this thing out of there. And then I dropped it. And it comes right out. So that's the key. Turn that piece over. This spot comes out, and then if you see on this side where this clip is, it's got kind of a hash mark side, and then this side has you know, it's a Ruuvi brand. Of course, like I said, it was the factory battery that come in there, and it's got the little specs on the battery, probably hard to see with all the glare, but everything on there. And then on here, again, maybe hard to see with all the glare, but that's the positive side of the battery. So certainly you want to note that and put the other battery back in. So then just dump that out. You just dump it out the bottom side and it comes out pretty easy. So now I want to get, this is my new battery I just bought. So same way, label side with all the specs on it is the positive side. It has a little hash mark side, that's the negative side. So we want to put this in with this positive side up. You just kind of get that battery so it seats. It's got to get in there sort of level all the way around, and it's not cooperating on screen for me. There we go. So we just kind of slip it into that disc, and then of course we want to turn it so this Ruuvi label and everything else is up. And then if you look, there's like a little notch right here. And then again, probably hard to see on camera, but there's a little notch in this housing back there. So we just got to line those two things up. Nope, not quite lined up. Line those two up. And then it goes, well, I just knocked it out. Here we go. Whoops. Golly, I got this thing discombobulated in there. Gotta get it in kind of level. Alright, yeah, we see that little green light come on that side. And then, try to get it back in here. Right, line up our notches. And it's down in there. And then put our lid back on. And then we're just put our cover back on. So once you figure it out, it's pretty easy, but it was quite stumping the first time I pulled this thing apart. And success! So now the battery's back in there. Now you can see I've got 4 temps on here, and one of them is freezer again. So it's got pretty high temp compared to the rest of them. Just been handling that sensor and the battery and everything there. You see it dropping a bit, so it takes it I found these things take a minute to catch up to ambient or whatever they're measuring, but things don't change that much anyway. So it is working. And if we come back here to my app, and you can see we've got freezer temps again, and the updates have changed into the last few seconds instead of 10 days ago. So we're back in business. That's how you change the battery. And just one more cool thing about the sensors to point out real quick, because we can see the temperature. And then if I can get this glare off the screen, we've got humidity, and then we've got barometric pressure. So that's pretty awesome. I can look in the RV and see it's sitting out idle in the summertime, the humidity's rising up or going crazy. Then I just turn on the dehumidifier. Got an app for that too. And then watch the barometric pressure. Of course, we just had a storm yesterday come through, so the barometric pressure is pretty high today. So a nice, clear, cool, crisp April day. And then that's in the app. Don't need the Cerbo to do all that, but in the Cerbo it is also pretty awesome. We can, and then if we look down here, there's, you got some glare. There's my temps from VRM, and if I click on one, then I get all of the extra data propagated there. So again, very, very nice sensors. If you want to monitor anything and everything weather-wise, inside or outside your RV, Ruuvi temperatures are thebomb.com. Please like and subscribe. Lots of RV and kayak videos on the channel, and much more to come.